Hi, this is Tara Powers, author of Virtual Teams for Dummies. Thanks so much for visiting this page and downloading your virtual team communication plan. I am encouraging you as a virtual team to go through this plan together and put together a plan for your team as a whole. I also encourage each of you individually as virtual team members to do this for yourselves, because this is really important in making sure that you're building clarity around communication, who you need to be communicating with, how often, what you should be communicating, and whose responsibility it is. So I'm going to go through this very simple template that I have developed when I work with teams that helps them start to have some important communication conversations. And you'll notice, if you obviously read the book and it directed you to this page, on page 239, I talk a lot about the different communication channels. And in any organization and on any team, you are going to have people and stakeholders that you need to communicate information upward to, which would be executives, perhaps other teams in the organization. You're also going to need to communicate and cascade information down through the organization, again, to other teams in the organization, and also externally to your clients, perhaps even shareholders. And then finally, you're going to have communication that needs to be shared horizontally across your team and probably across other peer groups. So one of the things that you as a team you want to get clear on are who are all of the people in our communication channels that we need to be communicating with, and what do they need to know from us. So that's just an important brainstorm that I encourage you to do as a group, right? Who needs to know this information? And that's going to then help you build out this communication plan that you see here in front of you. The other key thing to mention is that this is a template. This is not a be-all, end-all, have to use this particular method. What I hope is that you use this template as an opportunity to have the important conversation and discussion as a team. What is our communication plan, and how can we tweak what we see here that Tara's discussing so that it works for us and it works for what we need to be communicating in our organization. So if you look at the plan that you see up here on your screen, you're going to notice on the left I have a couple key considerations outlined in orange. And we're going to talk through each of these. And those are sources, audience, objectives, method, and role. So when you are building out a communication plan, it is so important and valuable for you to take some time to think about, where does information need to be flowing in to our team? Or if you're doing this at an individual level, where are the sources that I am getting information from that then I use to put my communication plan together? So it's important for you to be thinking about, where are we getting information from? Is it from the industry? Is it from perhaps company executives? Is it from other teams? And if we're not getting that information in a timely way, or we're not getting it in a way that's valuable, how can we ask for it differently? How can we communicate our needs and our expectations to those sources that provide us with this information? Because, you know, a communication plan is a two-way plan that you need to be thinking about. Sometimes information's coming in and then flowing out. Sometimes information just flows out from you. So sources are an important piece of your communication plan, and considering, are we getting what we need in a timely manner? Are we getting it in a way that's valuable? And if not, what do we need to be doing or asking to get it differently? So that's one consideration. Second consideration is, who are your stakeholders or audience that you need to communicate information to? And this really goes back to those communication channels, right? You're going to have audience members who might be your executives, where you need to communicate upward. You might have other team or team members who you need to flow information or cascade it down through the organization to. Certainly, you're going to have audience members horizontally, peers, each other, people on your team. And then you're also going to have stakeholders, shareholders, clients that are external, who are also audience members that need to know information that you have. So you want to consider your audience as another key component of your communication plan. The next very important consideration is based on your audience. What are the objectives? What are the goals of communicating information to them? So a good question to ask yourself is, why do they need to know this information, and what should they be able to do with it? This should really help you hone in on exactly what you need to communicate, so that you are not providing a bunch of extraneous information that they don't find valuable, and your important information gets lost in all the noise, right? If you're not clear on your objectives, if you're not clear on what you're communicating and why your audience needs it, then most likely you may be communicating and wasting time sending out information that nobody's looking at, nobody's using, and nobody cares about. So answering that question about objectives is extremely important. The next key consideration that you want to be talking about is, what is your method of communicating? Are you communicating this through email? Are you communicating this through some type of weekly document, project update form? Do we do it via a video to our clients, to our shareholders? Do we pick up the telephone? How are we communicating this to them in a way that they find valuable and that builds the relationship, right? You want to also think about, how can we use communication when we are working virtually in a way that builds trust, in a way that builds the relationship? So consider your methods carefully, because it is very important. And then the last consideration is, who's responsible? Whose role is it to actually communicate to this audience in this way, reaching these goals? And then we'll talk about frequency here in a minute. But you want to be very clear on who's responsible, whose role is it on the team to actually communicate this out. What you'll notice on my template is I put a very simple annual communication plan here, so that you could fill in either monthly or quarterly. Perhaps you even send this out weekly, but you can put a little checklist here of when things need to go out, by month, by quarter. Maybe it's just annually. And that just gives you a quick reminder, if you're looking at this either on your computer, hanging up next to your desk, oh, I need to send this out this week. This is important communication that I need to get together. So this just is a very simple template that helps you make some key considerations to build out your plan, and then certainly helps you plan out for the year how often we communicate, when it needs to go out, so that you have that ready to go. As I mentioned, as a team, you should have a high-level communication plan that the team sticks to. But I also encourage you as virtual team members to do this on your own, so that you are making sure you're staying connected, you're reaching out to the right people at the right time, you're giving people the information that they need when they need it. You'll also notice on the right-hand side of this template, there are two very, very important questions. And this is very important to answer as a team and individual, is, how is your communication, whatever it is that you're sending out, how is it aligned with something that matters? Whether it's your value, your goals, your strategy, something that matters to your client, what is it aligned to? If you are putting together communication and sending it out, and you can't answer the question, why does this matter? How is this creating value? Then you're probably wasting precious time and resources sending out information that nobody's reading or nobody cares about. Another important question to ask yourself is, how often are we incorporating a feedback loop to our audience members, to our key stakeholders, to make sure that what they're getting is valuable to them, that they're getting it in a way that they can use, that they're getting it in a method or way that they can easily digest and understand. So if you haven't incorporated a feedback loop with your audience to say, is this meaningful? Is this valuable? Is this the best way for you to receive this? Would you like to get this information in a different way? Then again, you don't know if you're actually putting together communication that is meaningful, valuable, and people are using and reading. And if you're not doing that, what's the point? So these are a couple key things for you and your team to talk about, to lay out, to map out, and I encourage you to use this template as a starting point to build out your communication plan as a team. And certainly as a virtual team, share this. Share this with your executive leaders that are supporting your virtual team. Share this with other key stakeholders in the company so that they know what to expect from you, and certainly share it with each other. This is the best way I know for a virtual team to stay connected, for people to actually get clarity and know what to expect from each other and from other virtual teams in the organization. And please, if you're using this and you're talking about it and it's helped you create a communication plan that's working for your team, drop me a line at Tara at Powers Resource Center to let me know that you're using this plan. I would love to hear how it's working for you. Thanks so much for reading the book and visiting this website here and downloading the communication plan. I hope that it really helps your team stay connected and get that clarity that I know is so important when working in a virtual environment. Take care. Have a great week.